Philip David Wickham, acknowledged to the arena as Phil Wickham, was born on April 5th, 1984 in San Diego, California, right into a domestic filled with music, religion, and love. His early life becomes something, however, normal, as he was immersed inside the global of worship. Tuned from an early age, his parents John and Lisa Wickham had been both deeply worried in music. Ministry and their passion for worship left a profound mark on their youngsters. Phil, along with his older brother Evan and more youthful sister Jillian, grew up in an environment in which faith and tune intertwined seamlessly, shaping the muse of his destiny as a worship leader and Christian artist. From the moment he could stroll and talk, Phil became surrounded through melodies and harmonies. His father, John Wickham, had been a member of the Christian rock band The Road Home, and track became a part of the family's daily existence. Their home changed into usually filled with the sounds of worship, whether or not through his father strumming a guitar, Guar, his mother, making a song, a hymn, or the circle of relatives gathering to worship together. Church services had been now not just a Sunday ritual, however, and crucial a part of their lives, and Phil quick developed a deep love for worship as a young boy. Phil was evidently drawn to making a song. His parents recognized his present early on and advocated him to discover his musical competencies. He would often watch in awe as his father performed the guitar, and earlier than lengthy, he became eager to examine himself. On the age of 12, he picked up his first guitar and commenced to educate himself how to play. He spent hours working towards mimicking the worship songs he had heard at domestic and in church, determined to grasp the tool that would later end up his signature. Phil's own family moved to Vista, California, where he spent most of his childhood. He'd become an active and passionate child, but he additionally carried a quiet, introspective facet. He loved spending time on my own, writing in journals and composing melodies in his head. Track became his way of expressing himself, and he found solace inside the potential to create something stunning from his feelings. By the time he became a youngster, Phil had developed a deep personal courting with God. He wasn't simply making a song, worship songs. He became feeling them. Track became his manner of speaking with God, and he longed to create songs that could assist others connect with him as nicely. He started leading worship at his children's organization and fast gained confidence in his ability to guide others into a place of worship. His heart burned with a choice to jot down songs that were genuine, heartfelt, and glorifying to God. Phil's older brother Evan Wickham changed into, additionally, a skilled musician and songwriter. The two brothers regularly played collectively, difficult and provoking every other musically they could, write songs, harmonize, and lead worship together, strengthening their bond, no longer simply as siblings, but as fellow worshipers. Their pleasant competition driven Phil to work even tougher at his craft as he grew older. Phil changed into stimulated by means of a variety of Christian artists, which includes Delirious Chris, Tomlin, and David Crowder. He admired the way they used tune to lead people into worship, and he dreamed of someday doing the equal. He began writing his own songs, pouring his heart into lyrics that reflected his love for God. At 18, Phil recorded his first unbiased album. It'd become an easy mission, but it caught the eye of humans. Beyond his local church, he commenced gaining a following, and phrase of his expertise spread quick. His voice, with its particular and ethereal satisfactory, set him apart from different worship leaders. His potential to combination deep scriptural themes with modern-day melodic tune resonated with listeners, and earlier than lengthy he determined. Himself being invited to lead worship at distinctive church buildings and events, his breakthrough came while he signed with Simple Information and launched his self-titled album Phil Wire in 2006. Songs like Divine Romance show off his capability to craft poetic and worshipful lyrics that captivated listeners. His passion for worship and his coronary heart for God were obvious in each Be Aware, and his track commenced accomplishing. Humans, some distance past his place of origin of Vista. Looking back on his early life, Phil regularly credits his upbringing for shaping him into the worship leader he's nowadays. The strong religion of his dad and mom, the encouragement of his circle of relatives, and the deep love for music that became cultivated in his home. 33. all performed an essential role in his adventure whilst his career took off, and he have become a well-known call sign the global of Christian song. He never lost sight of the simple yet profound lessons he learned as an infant, that worship is not pretty much singing, but about dwelling a life that glorifies God. His adventure from a young boy strumming a guitar in his family's residing room to an internationally identified worship leader is a testimony to the electricity of faith, perseverance, and God's calling through every tune he writes and every level he stands on. Phil keeps to hold the coronary heart of the worshipful baby. He, as soon as was packed with awe, gratitude, and an unshakable love for God. Phil Wickham had continually recognized that being a worship leader and Christian artist got here with its challenges. He had spent years pouring his coronary heart into his music, crafting songs that he hoped would carry humans closer to God. But no matter how sturdy his religion was, not anything could have prepared him for the burden of public complaint, the type that cuts deep, leaving wounds that don't heal. 5:36. Overnight, it began, subtly, like whispers in the wind. In the beginning, Phil did not pay a good deal attention to the net feedback and evaluations. He had usually believed that so long as he became trustworthy to his calling, what others, performance, than a heartfelt providing, Phil Wickham has lost his authenticity. The word stung. He had always prided himself on writing from a place of true worship, but here were human beings thinking his sincerity, accusing him of being extra, of an entertainer than a worship leader. The complaint reached its height after the discharge of one of his most private albums. He had spent months working on it, praying over every lyric, making sure each tune pondered his coronary heart for God. In place of being met with prevalent praise, he observed himself drowning in a flood of negativity. A few enthusiasts accused him of promoting out, claiming that his track had come to be too commercialized. Others, in comparison, him unfavorably to different worship artists, announcing he had lost the uncooked ardor that when defined his sound, even in the Christian song community. Some, a few, questioned whether or not his songs had been really leading people into worship, or really unique them. Phil attempted to shake it off. He informed himself that he wasn't doing this for approval, that his motive became to glorify God, not to please humans. But deep down, the phrases weighed on him. He began to second wager himself, turned into he failing. Had he overlooked what truly mattered one night, time after an in particular difficult overall performance wherein he had felt disconnected and remote? He sat by himself in his dressing room, gazing his reflection in the replica cage. He felt tired, defeated. He had usually believed that worship changed into approximately give up, but now he wasn't positive what he had left to give his spouse. Mallory noticed the trait in him. She saw how the once pleased guy who might wake up humming new melodies changed into now quiet, confused via doubt one night as he sat at the piano, his hands resting on the keys without gambling a word. She gently located a hand on his shoulder. "Phil, you're not defined by using what human beings say," she whispered. "Your worship is between you and God. If your music isn't supplying to Him, then it is in no way useless." Her phrases brought him to tears. He had been so focused at the grievance that he had forgotten the purpose he started in the first region. Worship wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about approval. It turned into approximately surrendering to God, irrespective of what others. Concept that night. He sat on the piano and started to play, not for an album, no longer for an target audience, but clearly for God. A brand new song poured out of him, raw and unfiltered. It wasn't, or best, however, it changed into actual. Through the years, Phil discovered to allow passive the voices that had as soon as tormented him. The criticisms failed to disappear. However, they now not held power over him. He realized that as long as his tune remained an honest mirrored image of his heart for God, nothing else mattered. His journey through pain, doubt, and rediscovery simplest deepened his religion, and in the end it reminded him of the fact he had usually recognized: worship wasn't approximately overall performance. It turned into about the coronary heart, and it changed into something no quantity of grievance ought to ever do away with. Thank you so much for looking. I simply respect your support. If you enjoyed this video, make certain to go away, a like, and remark beneath. I'd like to pay attention what you believe you studied. See you in the subsequent video.